What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at some more insane entitled parent stories. Entitled mum leaves child at daycare while she goes Christmas shopping. I work at a childcare facility and we are open from 8:30 to 4:30. We have strict rules about these times. 4:30 is supposed to be the last possible time you can pick up your child, not the time you start showing up. We have a policy to charge for every 15 minutes past 4:30, but we tend to be nice and not do that if it's a one-off thing and you're there before 5. We have a child with an entitled mum who is late a lot. This year she has had to pay late fees over a dozen times and always fights it, saying, "I pay you to watch my son, don't I?" Anyway, this morning she comes and drops off her boy and comes up to me and says, "I'm going to be a bit late to pick him up today." Usually with parents that means they'll be showing up 10 to 15 minutes after 4:30, which we accept. But I knew that this lady wouldn't be doing that. Sure enough, I ask her what time she expects she'll get here and she says, "Hopefully 6:30, but no later than 7. I have to do some Christmas shopping." I was shocked. She has been told again and again 4:30 is the latest she can pick up. I replied, "That isn't going to be possible. He needs to be picked up by 4:30. Later than that and you're charged. After 5:30, we call the police if we can't get a hold of you." She answers with, "I have urgent Christmas shopping to do today, so you'll just need to watch him." I reiterate the policy we have and she says, "You've said yourself, my son is a great kid. You should feel lucky that you get to spend time with him. I thought you work here because you love kids, or do you just do it for the money?" Jesus, what an idiot. I'm starting to rage inside, but I can't yell in front of the kids, so I smile. Tell her again the policy we have on pickups and tell her to speak to the manager if she doesn't believe me. She laughs and says, "Just do what I pay you for and watch him," and walks off. I tell my manager, who calls her after lunch, to remind her that she needs to pick up her boy by 4:30 at the latest. Apparently she laughs it off and says she'll pick him up, so we hope that's that. 4:30 rolls around and her son is now the only kid here. We keep him entertained while we clean up and she is called but doesn't answer. By 5, my manager calls saying if someone doesn't answer the phone or comes to pick him up, we have to call the police. We try the emergency contact numbers, but one is a friend already out of town for the holidays and the father doesn't pick up. We wait a bit because having the police here will upset the boy, but by 5:30 we don't know what else to do. I call once more and she finally answers. When I tell her she needs to come collect her son now, the conversation goes like this: "I told you I was going to be late, and I told you that wasn't acceptable. You're lucky we haven't called the police already. Don't threaten me. You knew I was going to be late. I told you I needed to do Christmas shopping." That's no excuse. You need to come get him right now or we'll have to call the police so they can bring a social worker down to collect him. "You really know how to ruin Christmas, you idiot. I just wanted to get some presents." "Just come pick him up now." "Fine. You are the laziest teacher ever. You don't even want to look after one child." With that, she hangs up and at around 5:45 she pulls up. The manager tells her that this was serious and she will have to take it to the board to see if they are going to take it further, report her to child services or refuse a place here for her child next year. The entitled mum loses it, saying we've ruined Christmas and that she can have us all fired and that her family is used to VIP treatment in this town. Her husband makes a lot of money and that she is disgusted we don't understand that. God. To top it off, when asked to leave, she grabs a $10 note out of her purse and says, "Here, I've paid the extra time, you miserable bunch of done. Get over it. He's an angel to look after." Hopefully the board take action against her because she is unbelievable. I've just got one simple question here. Why didn't she just take the kid shopping? If he's such a great kid, she should feel lucky to spend extra time with him, right? Yeah, I think with people like this, the only option is just to get social workers involved. They're so irresponsible. What the heck? Isn't it funny how some rich people are actually way cheaper than poor people, you know? Like this entitled mum says she's used to VIP treatment and her husband makes a lot of money, but she doesn't know how to pay for someone to look after her kid full time. If you want to go off and do your Christmas shopping on your own, that's fine, but pay someone to look after your kid for the whole day. Now for our second story. Entitled parent doesn't want me to use my insulin needles at a restaurant. Oh God, this is going to be good. This happened about a year ago when I was in the 8th grade. Backstory: I am type 1 diabetic, which is an autoimmune disease, meaning that my immune system attacks something it wasn't supposed to. In my case, it attacks my pancreas, and now I cannot make insulin to turn sugar into energy coffee, which can cause high or low blood sugars. My friends and I decided to go to a local Grease Spoon in our town. It was near our school, so we walked there. Greasy spoons usually have a lot of carby things, so I was prepared with my insulin needle and finger pricker. I decided to order lots of carbs. I got a milkshake and some fries. Fries were about 40 grams and milkshake was about 70. This called for lots of insulin, so I took my blood sugar. There weren't that many people, but there was a mother and child across the aisle. I pricked my finger, gladly she didn't notice that part. Next, I take out my vial of insulin and my needle and start preparing it. She sees this and just watched me for a little bit. Once I'm about to inject into my stomach area, she gets up and stomps her way over. Excuse me? Yes, I didn't inject yet. I didn't want her to see it so closely. We're in public. Why are you doing drugs here? My son is over there. Oh, darn it. This hasn't happened before. Usually people just stare at me. It's not. I saw the needle. She's visibly angry. My friend Emily says she needs it in order to eat her food. No, she doesn't. At this point, I just wanted to ignore her. We hear our order number, so my other friend George, who was too shy to say anything, goes up and gets our food. Can you go away? Our food is ready and I need to prepare for it. The entitled mum noticed my vial of insulin. What is that? You can read the label if you want. It's my insulin. I was trying my best not to explode at her. Let me read it. I hold up the vial to let her read. I see that she calms down. She must know what insulin is. Even though I told her that it was insulin. Guess you can't trust middle schoolers. The entitled mum walks away and probably went to demand a refund on the poor cashier. Her shy kid was just sitting at his table, looking a little embarrassed. I finish with my diabetes stuff and eat my delicious food. I have a pump and Dexcom now, so I'll probably get less weird looks, except when they beep. While I was typing this, my dad came over to me and told me that they're making a nasal glucagon spray. Way better than the long needle. Wow, that sounds exceedingly helpful. Now, to be honest, OP is actually pretty lucky in this story. I know that sounds a little bit weird for me to say, but listen to this. I've read a few other stories on this subreddit where an entitled mum has grabbed someone's insulin bottle and smashed it. At least this one had some form of common sense to at least read the label. But yeah, having diabetes is bad enough, but when you have entitled parents that ask you about it constantly and say it's drugs, it doesn't get much worse than that. And now for our final story. Entitled mum and her boyfriend are why I'm glad for panic buttons. For some backstory, we got a call from the local police department letting us know a vehicle owned by our rental agency had been impounded, and that after being searched, it was safe for us to come retrieve it. Once we retrieve the vehicle, about a half an hour later, the fun ensues. We're in our office when a taxi pulls in next to the front door. Two people get out and practically slam the doors closed on the taxi before ripping open our front door. A screaming frenzy ensues before any of us can even open our mouths. The entitled boyfriend shouts, "Where the F is my car?" My manager James comes out from his office and is immediately at the front of the store, while myself and two others stay closer to the back. "I'm sorry, sir, what do you mean?" "I asked you where my freaking car is." "Sir, I need you to calm down." The entitled mum, quiet up until now, decides to join the screaming fits. "Listen here, you little idiot. We paid good money for that car and we want it back. Look it up. I'm Mrs. Blank." James finally starts to put the pieces together and realizes they are talking about the car that was impounded. What we had heard from police reports was that the vehicle was confiscated after two individuals tried to steal beer and candy from a local gas station. The vehicle was searched as well, and a large number of half-smoked joints were also discovered, so the vehicle was impounded and the two individuals taken to the police station. We all kind of expected, young kids or something. Okay, folks, listen, what are your names and I'll be able to look up your contract, find the vehicle you're talking about, and we can get this sorted, okay? During this time, James looks back at us with a freaking do it expression. We have a panic button under our desks in the back to summon police presence. Since we were on very good terms with the local police department, they were usually there in minutes. True to form, I slam that button under the desk as discreetly as possible and they show up while James is still trying to calm down the two screaming people in our lobby. The police walk in and the entitled boyfriend instantly becomes more aggressive, going so far as to break our front door hinges when the police escorted the two of them out to talk in the parking lot. Once they're outside, we breathe a collective sigh of relief and James searches our system to find information on the car. Turns out, these people weren't the ones who rented the car. We called the phone number on file and speak with a good grandma who rented the vehicle for her grandson, good grandkid. When we explain the situation to her, she says she will be there soon and will notify her grandson. Her grandson comes flying into the parking lot with his grandmother and we watch as the parking lot becomes a soap opera. A lot of screaming, getting up in in each other's faces until the grandkid marches into our office, his look of anger subsiding as he composes a bit. Whew, I am so sorry about this. My granny rented this for me and her to drive while my car is at the shop, but the entitled mum comes storming in after him, proceeding to scream like a banshee as one of the officers follows her to remove her. Why do you have to be like this to your own flesh and blood? Why can't you be grateful for all that I've done for you? The grandkid turns, and I can only assume his face was not happy because the entitled mum kind of shuffled backwards. Gran has done more for me than you ever have. Now get the heck out of my face. Police officers enter and escort the entitled mum back outside, where the other officer has placed her entitled boyfriend into the back of his squad car. She joins him and the police cart them away. The grandkid turns back to us and apologizes, saying he will come back to sort things out. 2 days later, the grandkid comes back with his grandmother and they apologize up and down for the fiasco. Apparently, without going into too much detail, the grandkid moved out of the house when his entitled dad and entitled mum got together and went to go live with his grandma. His grandmother has spent years trying to be the parent the grandkid never had, and his entitled mum and her entitled boyfriend have repeatedly tried to come back into the grandkid's life. Apparently though, stealing the car wasn't even the craziest thing this entitled mum has tried to do to get her son's attention. The grandmother and the grandkid ended up bringing my office donuts for the hassle and told us to keep the car. They didn't need it anymore. We had to get that thing detailed. The devil's lettuce is very hard to get out of carpet. Yep, I can imagine. Well, that was a thoroughly entertaining story. I think you guys would agree. I can't believe this mum's logic. So she comes into this shop and says, "Give me my car. I stole it fair and square from my family." Like, doesn't really make much sense to me. I don't know. You know what? Let's try something different for this video. I want you to rank the 3 stories we've just heard in order of how entertaining they were in your opinion. So leave a comment down below, either saying first story, second story, or third story. Actually rank them. So like 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, whatever you want. I kind of want to get a feel for what stories you guys really like more than others, and I think this would be a good way for me to understand that. Anyway, that is going to be the end of this video. So yeah, drop a comment down below. Let me know which ones you enjoyed in particular. If you want to see another Entitled Parents video straight away, click the one on screen right now. It's an absolute cracker. If not, remember to like and subscribe for daily Reddit content on my channel, and not just daily, twice a day throughout December.